What's going on, gang? And welcome back to another episode of Progress, Not Perfection. I'm your host, Jeff Packman, and I am your personal trainer who's going to help you take out the misinformation and the complication out of your weight loss journey. There's a bunch of bullshit online. There's a bunch of bullshit on social media. There's a bunch of bullshit. I call them shitfluencers out there trying to take your money, trying to confuse you, trying to make weight loss and fat loss super complicated, and basically trying to make it as if they are the only answer, the only solution to your problems. And what I want to do is I want to take all of that complication and simplify it down into the bare bones, the basics of why you're maybe not seeing the progress that you want to be seeing, which is why I created this podcast. It's called Progress, Not Perfection for a reason. It's because it's for the inner perfectionist in us. It's for the all or nothing mindset kind of person that I know you are, that I am. We just want to be perfect. And if we can't be perfect, we don't see the point in trying. So that's what I wanted to make this episode about. And what I wanted to mainly talk about in this episode is how to break a weight loss plateau. I made a video about this on Instagram and I got a lot of questions and I got a lot of people asking me why they weren't seeing progress on 1200 calories anymore, even though they used to see progress eating 1200 calories. First of all, I want to say this. If you're in a weight loss plateau and you're eating 1200 calories, you're probably not eating 1200 calories. You're probably eating more than that. And I'll go into why that may be happening here later. But if you're struggling, you're eating super low calories, you're being as consistent as you possibly can, but the scale is just not moving. I'm going to go into some reasons why and some common tools and strategies that I use with my one-on-one coaching clients to help us break through that plateau, finally see the scale move, finally see some freedom around your nutrition and fitness, and create some sustainable, lifelong, life-term habits in the process. Because if you are constantly yo-yo dieting, you are constantly going on these really extreme diet plans, you're constantly trying to lose the weight as fast as possible, and then it may work in the short term, but in the long term, you just gain it all back, maybe even gain more in the process. This episode is going to be for you. So let's get into it. First of all, what is a plateau and why does it happen? What are the main reasons that I see with my one-on-one clients why they might reach a plateau? And what is a plateau? Like, at what point do I, as a coach, look at my clients' data and say, oh, we're in a plateau? Now, a lot of people, after not seeing the scale move for 1 week, they think they're in a plateau. Like, they may weigh 200 pounds on Monday, and by Sunday, if their weight hasn't gone down to 199 or below 200, they think they're in a plateau. Or maybe they only weigh themselves once per week. And so on Monday at 200 pounds, they weigh in the next week at 200 pounds, they think they're in a plateau. 1 week of not seeing the scale go down is not a plateau. 2 weeks of not seeing the scale go down is not a plateau. 3 weeks of not seeing the scale go down is not a plateau. If I see for several months that your weight has not moved, your measurements have not moved, your photos don't look any different, then I would say you're in a plateau and there are some things that we need to change in order to get you to see the progress that you need to be seeing. Some things that I look at when I'm looking at my clients' data and logs are: how consistent are we with tracking our data? How consistent are we with tracking our calories? How consistently are we putting in the protein? How consistently are we weighing in? How consistently are we taking measurements? If all of these things are happening on a weekly basis consistently, and I'm looking at your food logs and I'm seeing you're tracking your calories to the gram on a food scale, you're doing all of the right things, you've got all of the habits in place, but the scale is just not moving, there's usually a few things that we need to check. Okay, so number one, are we tracking licks, bites, and tastes, or LBTs, or BLTs, bites, licks, and tastes? BLTs is easier to remember because BLTs are delicious, by the way. So, are we tracking BLTs? A lot of people, when they're cooking, they like to taste the food. A lot of people, when their kids are eating their food and they haven't finished their meals, they like to snack on their kids' little snacks. A lot of people like to go into the kitchen late at night and become pantry gremlins. I used to be super guilty of this myself. So if that's you, this is probably what's happening, and you're probably eating more calories in a sneaky way than you realize you are. And so that's why you're not actually seeing the progress that you want to be making. In the beginning of a weight loss journey, it's really easy to be consistent. You're fired up, you are really you've got a new plan, a new routine, and you're fired up, you're motivated, right? Like my RFL crew is starting this last week. And if you don't know what RFL is, it's my rapid fat loss group. And rapid fat loss is a protocol that I use with clients to get them jump started, to get them motivated, to get them fired up for their journey. That's going to be probably a long-term process, but I want to get them fired up. I want to get them started. I want to get them going, and I want to start with a bang. So RFL is my way of kickstarting these clients into a journey that is going to be a lifelong journey for them. And I want to get them set up with aggressive fat loss habits. So that way, when we go into something more sustainable, they already have these amazing habits built, and we can actually back off of what they're doing a little bit to get them to keep making progress in a more sustainable, more reasonable way. So a lot of them started last week, and they are almost all of them, besides 2 of my clients, have checked in. They're all doing amazing. They're all seeing great progress. They're all starting these awesome habits. They're drinking their water. They're eating their protein. They're tracking their calories. They're doing all of these amazing things. They're doing their strength training. They're doing all of these amazing things, and they're seeing progress. And it's really easy to see progress in the beginning. But as you start to get closer to that, that slowing down stage of the process, and you've been at in the grind mode, I like to call it. If you've been in the grind mode for a while, you start to reach what's called the dip. Now, the dip is when you can start something new, and you make progress really fast when you start something new, right? So pretend like I'm brand new to the sport of pickleball. A lot of you guys know I'm addicted to pickleball. Check out this mug. Oh, by the way, this will be up on my YouTube channel. I'll leave the link in the description if you guys are listening on the audio podcast. I'm putting these up on YouTube now, but check out this mug. It says Pickleball King. So a lot of you guys know I play pickleball like a lot, and I've gotten addicted to it. But when I first started, it was easy to make progress very quickly for me. And now I'm at this point where my progress kind of looks like this. It's like barely anything. I'm barely learning a new shot or getting any better. I'm like, I've kind of reached this plateau point. Now, so from here, I have 2 options, really. I can keep going. I can find out, okay, where do I need to focus my energy to get better? And for me, it's actually on the mental side of the game. It's not my skills. It's not learning new shots. It's not drilling to become more consistent. It's actually on the mental side of the game. So I'm working on something that will help with my mindset and help me get into more of a flow state when I'm playing. Now, for you, I have a feeling, just have an inkling that for you, it's also the mental side is why you have reached a weight loss plateau. If you are somebody who is starting to get through the grind process and you're not losing weight as fast as you used to be, or maybe you're not losing weight at all, maybe you're actually gaining a little bit of weight, maybe you're freaking out because the scale is going up, it's sometimes helpful to look at what you can do on a mental basis. So whether that be things like journaling, taking notes, really thinking about, okay, what else do I have in my life that is something outside of my control that I'm trying to control right now, and letting go of it. Journaling can help with that process. Now, I know this is getting a little bit into the weeds, but it is all connected. A good friend of mine, Daniel Rosenthal, he told me that weight loss is 90% mindset, and that has stuck with me ever since. Because if you are struggling mentally, then being in a fat loss phase, being in a weight loss mode, and all of this stuff is going to affect that. What do chronic yo-yo dieters do when they are struggling with stress and they're depressed, or they're going through a breakup, or they're going through tough times with their health, or maybe their family is going through something? What do? We eat our feelings. Now, if we eat our feelings, it's really easy to forget that, oh shit, yesterday I completely like blacked out in this stress eating cycle, and I don't even remember doing it. A lot of my one-on-one clients, they struggle with emotional eating, stress eating, boredom eating, they turn to food as a coping tool or coping mechanism. Now, the journaling, the going to see a therapist, the picking up a phone and talking to friends, that is a tool that you can use when you are thinking about reaching for food. There are other tools that you can use, and I teach this to my one-on-one clients. I teach them things like playing the tape forward, journaling, meditation. I teach them how to stop and just set a timer on their phone for 15 minutes and just think about what is causing me to want to reach for that second slice of cake when I really don't even need it. I'm not even hungry. I've already had my piece of cake. I'm already enjoyed it. I don't need another one. Another one's just going to make me feel sick. So why am I reaching for it? Why? Asking why is sometimes the answer to your weight loss plateau. And another point that I want to bring up too is that the last 10 to 15 pounds are sometimes the hardest for you to lose. They're not sometimes, they always are the hardest for you to lose. So if you're struggling with that last 10 to 15 pounds, sometimes it's worth reassessing your goals and also putting in some sort of performance goal into your routine. Because if your only goal is to weigh a certain number on the scale, you're pretty much already losing. You need to have some sort of performance-based goal in order to keep making progress. So for some of my one-on-one clients, if let's say they want to get more mobile, they want to get more flexible, they want to get more athletic, they want to get their first chin up, they want to be able to deadlift, half their body weight. These are all really cool goals that I love to help my clients with, because when we put our goals into our performance, what our bodies can do for us, not being scared of food and limiting food and restricting food and looking at food as this thing that is going to make us fat or make us skinny. It's looking at food as fuel to help us with performance in these areas. It's much more empowering to look at food as, what can I add more of? Can I add more protein to this meal? Can I add more greens to this meal? Can I add some blueberries and antioxidants to this meal to make it more energizing for myself? Like, what are the things that I can think about adding to this meal, not subtracting? A lot of you guys have been seeing me make a sandwich every single day on my reels. And the reason I've been doing this is because people have been saying that sandwiches are unhealthy. I've been making a sandwich every single day and I've been losing fat. I love sandwiches and I would never cut them out of my diet just to help me lose a couple pounds. What I am doing is I'm showing you guys that, hey, you can still enjoy your favorite foods, and I'm adding more protein. I'm adding vegetables. I'm adding fruit and tomatoes and avocado and mayo and all this delicious stuff onto my sandwiches to show you guys that you can have all this stuff and still make amazing progress. A lot of those sandwiches are 400 to 500 calories and 50 plus grams of protein. So if you want to learn more about my fat loss sandwiches, go ahead and check out my Instagram. You guys will love it. So a lot of my one-on-one clients, when they are in a plateau, they think that they need to be pushing harder. Now, sometimes that is the answer. Sometimes it's calories in, calories out. Yes, you're just not in a big enough deficit and you're not moving enough, blah, 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 blah. Sure, that's fine. But you can have the perfect calorie targets, the perfect macros, the perfect workout routines, the perfect step targets. You can do all those things. But if it's not working, if pushing harder is not working, then we need to look elsewhere. We need to look in a little bit deeper and we need to see, what other things do you have going on in your life? Maybe if you're working 85 hours a week, fat loss is not the primary goal right now. Maybe it's just surviving right now is the goal. Maybe it's eating enough food to keep you engaged mentally in your job so that you can push hard until the end of the fiscal year so that you can focus on fat loss in January, maybe. So just realize that life goes in seasons. I never put my clients in a fat loss phase for an entire year. There's going to be phases of maintenance. There's going to be phases of building. There's going to be phases of fat loss. There's going to be phases of taking a break from everything. A lot of my clients take vacations once or twice a year. I don't have them track calories during their vacations. Okay. So when you're in a plateau, sometimes pushing harder is not the answer. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you need a break, and then that will allow you to come back and be more consistent. It'll allow you to come back and push a little bit harder to get those last 10 to 15 pounds off and stop messing around. Okay. That's what's really going on. If you are in a plateau and it's only been a few weeks, what's most likely going on, just to recap, is you're either eating more calories than you think you are, you're not using a food scale, you're not tracking your calories more accurately, you don't have the accountability to keep yourself motivated, to keep yourself consistent. You don't really know what you're doing, and you should probably look into getting someone to help you in those areas. I don't care if it's hiring me as a coach, joining the next round of RFL in January, or, asking me what other coaches do you recommend, right? Or like looking out there for other coaches who have results. I never have trusted a coach who doesn't post results consistently. If they don't show on their stories that they are coaching, that they're helping their clients get stronger, lose weight, get healthier, develop a healthier relationship with food, learn how to mindfully eat, whatever your goals are. If they don't have results to show for that, then I don't trust that they are a good coach. Okay. So make sure that the information they are giving out aligns with your information, but most importantly, make sure that their personality aligns with your personality as well. We don't want to hire somebody and then have them be like a complete misfire. Like, I have had people come on my podcast and they sound really cool online. They're like really cool online. They seem like a cool person. And then they come on my podcast and it's like talking to a brick wall. And I'm just like, why did I invite this person on this podcast? Now I have to talk to this person for the next hour. And they're like a brick wall. I can't get them to say more than like a few sentences after I ask them a question. So, anyways, do not hire those kinds of people. I promise you, they will they will be a waste of money and a waste of time, especially if your personality is more like you like to talk through things and you like to figure out what is the cause of these issues, right? So that is definitely how I am, and I like to deal with people who like to talk through things. So if I were to hire a coach, I'd make sure that they were open, honest, and available for me to talk through things. Um, Now, if you are actually in a plateau, let's say you're eating pretty low calories, you're not seeing progress, you're very consistent with your calories, you're using a food scale, you're doing all of these things on a consistent basis, and you're not seeing progress, then, my friend, it's time to look elsewhere. It's time to either start journaling, start seeing a therapist, maybe take a short break, and then look into hiring a professional to help you. It doesn't mean that you need to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on somebody to help you lose 10 to 15 pounds. But it does mean that maybe you should hire somebody to learn from them, to have them teach you the basics of weight loss, to look into things and be like, where am I going wrong? What do I need to be more consistent with? Where am I dropping the ball? Where can I pull from and add to in order to help me get some success with what I'm trying to achieve, right? Even if that's in fitness, trying to get stronger, trying to develop a healthy relationship with food, trying to finally lose that last 10 to 15 pounds before your daughter's wedding, whatever it is, I don't care what it is, but something needs to change. And if nothing changes, guys. So that is the end of the episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, do me a huge favor. Go on over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcast and give me a 5-star review. Written reviews are always preferred. And make sure you guys go check out this episode on YouTube, because I'm going to be posting these episodes weekly on YouTube. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. Peace out.